My least favorite part about not having school is that I don't get to see my friends and that I'm really bored because there's not much to do. But my favorite part is probably getting to sleep in.
Hey guys, Riley asked me to talk about a positive and negative during coronavirus. And I would say definitely a positive. I've been able to be outside a lot more and have to go fishing since I don't have school. So that's definitely a positive. And a negative during Corona is that I'm not really able to spend time with my friends or like other family members because of the shutdown or the social distancing. So
I would say that the best part about my quarantine is getting to stay home and work through school and stuff at my own pace and not really having to do a lot for that. And the worst part is being alone and bored.
Life, Sarah, Lauren, Julia, Lucy, Liz, Lego, Laundry, 8 Little House on the Fairy, 7 Little Shin, 3 Lemon Sunshine, 2 Lamps, Addison, Aura, Lufa, Lambert, Lanyard, Leopard, Lobster, Laffy Taffy, Ladder Rollers, 3 Light Bulb, 2 Lights.
So that covers last week's challenge. Lindsay is our winner and she's gonna get a prize in the mail. This week's challenge is called Twin Dance. So all you need to do is find somebody that you're quarantined with, come up with a quick dance. Doesn't need to be long, and Mackenzie and Robin have a great example for you right now. So we are in week 2 of our series called Waymaker, and last week we looked at a miracle that Jesus performed for a man who had leprosy. And we kind of talked about how leprosy wasn't just one kind of sickness. It kind of was a word used to blanket over all sicknesses that were incurable, and caused people to be socially isolated from the people that they loved. They couldn't worship the way other people worshiped in the temple, and they had to walk around yelling unclean, unclean when they went into public spaces, so other people knew, don't touch that person, don't get near them, don't catch what they have. And I think that looking at how Jesus healed that man really shows the tender heart of Jesus and what he really cared about. We see throughout the Gospels that Jesus is able to heal however he chooses. He healed people with mud, with his voice, and instead of doing those different things, he chose to heal this man by the touch of his hand. And for someone who probably hadn't been touched by someone who was considered clean in a very long time, that would have been meaningful. It also would have kind of shattered what people thought about what it meant to be a healer in this time. For someone who was coming and performing these miracles, Jesus chose to do it in a way that really sent a message saying, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of this man's sickness. I'm not afraid of his brokenness. And I'm going to go an extra mile. I'm not only going to heal him, but I'm going to touch him to do it. And I'm going to show him that tender love. And so that was a really cool way, I think, to start the series. And today we have 2 miracles for the price of 1. But something I noticed in today's miracles is that the 2 people who needed healing were very different. One was a woman who had been subject to bleeding her entire life. So not only was she a woman, which would have made it difficult to make money, she couldn't own land, being ceremonial unclean, kind of like we talked about last week because she was constantly bleeding, would have been a really big hindrance to her life and her ability to just take care of herself. And it even says that she went to many doctors trying to figure out what is wrong with me, and no one could figure it out. So she kind of had that uncurable disease, or something was wrong with her, and she needed Jesus to heal her. And the other character is a man of prominence, a man who had stature and influence and money. He needed healing for someone that he loved. And something I noticed about these 2 characters is very different social status, very different economic, and even just their being man and a woman, 2 different needs for healing. But they both had the same desperation for Jesus. And I think that's something that's pretty powerful here. So we're going to jump in to Luke 8:40 to 56. Now when Jesus returned, a crowd welcomed him, for they were all expecting him. Then a man named Jairus, a synagogue leader, came and fell at Jesus' feet, pleading with him to come to his house, because his only daughter, a girl of about 12, was dying. As Jesus was on his way, the crowds almost crushed him, and a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, but no one could heal her. She came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak, and immediately her bleeding stopped. "Who touched me?" Jesus asked. When they all denied it, Peter said, "Master, the people are crowding and pressing against you." But Jesus said, "Someone touched me. I know that the power has gone out from me." Then the woman, seeing that she could not go unnoticed, came trembling and fell at his feet. In the presence of all the people, she told why she had touched him and how she had been instantly healed. Then he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace." While Jesus was still speaking, someone came from the house of Jairus, a synagogue leader. "Your daughter is dead," he said. "Don't bother the teacher anymore." Hearing this, Jesus said to Jairus, "Don't be afraid, just believe, and she will be healed." When he arrived at the house of Jairus, he did not let anyone go in with him except Peter, John, and James, and the child's father and mother. Meanwhile, all the people were wailing and mourning for her. "Stop wailing," Jesus said. "She is not dead, but asleep." They laughed at him, knowing that she was dead. But he took her by the hand and said, "My child, get up." Her spirit returned, and at once she stood up. Then Jesus told them to give her something to eat. Her parents were astonished, but he ordered them not to tell anyone what had happened. So 2 miracles, 2 very different miracles. And Kaylin, one of our small group leaders, is going to take it from here, and she's going to kind of tell you more about what's going on.
So if you're anything like me, you want to know the why behind everything that we do. So why are we studying miracles? Why is it important? It's a valid question, I think. A big reason that I think we study miracles is because it reveals the character of Jesus. It lets us know more of who he is. When we get to see his character, we begin to trust him more. Just like you would with a friend or a family member or one of your youth leaders, any of those things, trust comes with knowing the person. And the Gospels in the Bible are full of stories of Jesus performing miracles just so that we get to know who he is by reading about him. As Riley talked about, we're learning about a miracle that includes 2 very different people. And so I want to look at the approach of these 2. If we're looking at the woman's approach, she was kind of timid, a little nervous, didn't really want to bother anyone, especially not Jesus. She didn't even really think Jesus was going to notice that she was there. But if we look at verse 47, it says, "And when the woman saw that she was not hidden, she came trembling and falling down before him, declared in the presence of all the people there why she had touched him and how she had been immediately healed." Even though she thought she wasn't going to be noticed, Jesus knew exactly what had happened. She couldn't escape him noticing her. Now the man, on the other hand, like Riley said, probably had status, money. He obviously had a family. He wanted Jesus to come heal his daughter. So he came from a lot more prestige than the woman did, for sure. And he came boldly before Jesus and said, "Jesus, I need you to do this for me. I really need this to happen." And even though he seemed to have everything, he still was incredibly desperate for Jesus, just like the woman was. They were both incredibly desperate for Jesus. And even after everyone told the man to give up because they thought his daughter had died, he still kept believing. His faith was that strong. To look at some of the differences more closely between these 2, one had it all, and one really didn't have much. One was out front, making his requests known to Jesus out in front of everyone, and one of them didn't really feel worthy to be seen by him. But their faith was the same. They both had the exact same confidence that Jesus knew exactly what to do to heal them both. And even though they came from totally different places, totally different backgrounds, Jesus didn't treat them any differently. He saw their hearts and met each of their needs so perfectly and so personally. Guys, we all need Jesus. All of us. We all desperately need him, just like the man did, just like the woman did. Remember why I said we study miracles? We study them because we want to get to know Jesus' character. We want to be able to trust him more. And guys, when we learn to trust Jesus, when we read these stories and we begin to sink into who he is and trust him more, our faith in him grows. Something that Berkeley is all about is knowing Jesus and being Jesus. This hits that first part of knowing Jesus. So my challenge to you guys this week is to really dig into this passage. I know that we read it here and we kind of talked about it, but I challenge you to read it on your own and dig into it, see what you can find, meditate on it, and watch how your faith grows. Watch how, by reading this yourself, you can grow your understanding of who Jesus is. But it doesn't just stop with knowing him. Another command we have as believers is to be Jesus to the world, to be his hands and feet. So let's take a look back at verse 47. And the woman saw that she was not hidden. She came trembling, falling down before him, and declared in the presence of all the people why she'd touched him and how she'd been immediately healed. Guys, she declared in front of everyone what had happened. She was unashamed to share what she had just experienced through her faith in Jesus. So, my second challenge to you guys this week is to reach out to someone. Just like you and I need Jesus, our friends need Jesus. And that hasn't stopped, even though we can't be together in community. In fact, we probably need him more than ever at this point. Your friends are probably desperate to see Jesus work in their lives. So, a couple ways you can do this. You can call them and just ask how they're doing. Ask about their lives. Ask how you can pray for them. You can just send a text saying how you've been thinking about them and praying for them. You can write out a prayer and send it via text or letter or email, any of those ways.
I loved what Kaylin had to say about the differences between the man and the woman, and how she brought it full circle, saying that they were different, but they needed the same thing. They both needed Jesus, and so do we. I also love that she pointed out that our church's desire and our focus is to know Jesus and to be Jesus. And she gave some really practical ways. She said knowing Jesus could be as simple as rereading the passage that we shared with you today, which was Luke 8:40-56. So maybe you have a different perspective on it. Maybe something different jumps out to you than what we talked about today. Maybe just taking some time to actually open your Bible would be something that's really centering and good for you right now. And then she said to be Jesus is maybe reaching out to somebody who's maybe not doing well right now. You might be doing great. This might actually be an enjoyable time for you, maybe not. But with whatever we have to give, we should give it. And maybe there's someone in your life that could use a little bit of attention and a little bit of love right now. So I challenge you to know Jesus, to be Jesus this week. Don't let it pass you by. And we're just going to end tonight in just some worship. And Logan is going to sing a song over you. And when he sent me this video, I was really moved by it. I really felt like the words really sunk in and meant something to me. And so I hope this time can be a time of reflection. It can be a time to maybe read that passage in Luke. Maybe it's a time to write a letter to somebody or send a text. Just take it for whatever you need. It's there for you. So you guys can worship with us.
Mountains still being moved, storms are still being lost. God, we believe it. Yes, we can see that wonders are still what you do. Bodies are still being raised. Giants are still being slain.
Thank you for tuning in to today's Quarantine Youth Group. We hope you enjoyed it. Just a reminder that we will be back next Sunday at the same time, so tune in again. And yeah, we just want to say that if you have any prayer requests or things you want to chat through, always feel free to reach out to your small group leaders. We are here to talk through anything that you're going through during this time. We just love you. We miss you guys. We can't wait to give you a hug again. See you next week.
You can cut this part out because my Bible got sticky.